Hey, what's going on? Hopefully I'm fit into the video. I'm not cutting my head off. Thought I'd do a quick little live video. Coach Ryan here, setthepacetriathlon.com. Shameless plug. Um, Here in beautiful Muncie, Indiana. Well, technically I'm kind of 20 minutes southwest of Muncie, staying in Anderson. In my hotel here, day before, gonna go do check-in and all that kind of fun stuff. But thought I'd do a quick little live video of some tips that I've posted in the past. You might have seen this wonderful graphic floating around my Facebook pages. So I wanted to kind of go over kind of some tips. You know, people ask the question, I see it all the time in forums. You know, should I get race wheels? What kind? You know, what's the best brand? Aluminum braking surface, carbon braking surface, and all these questions, tubular clincher. Before you really get into that kind of depth, you kind of need to ask yourself some questions, especially if you're, you know, looking at the prices and you're like, oh, what's the best, you know, bang for my buck? I've got a tight budget. You know, the question should really be, do you need race wheels technically? Are you to that point where it really is a decision for you? You can see in the background, I do have zip wheels, 808s front and back. I got them off eBay, found them used, clincher, aluminum, or carbon fiber braking surface. I've had tubulars in the past. It just kind of make me nervous because you're out on the bike and if you get a flat. I've never had a flat with tubulars, but I don't want one. Never had the experience and didn't want the experience. So I went to clinchers because I'm more comfortable changing a flat. But that's kind of getting ahead of ourselves. So I want to go over the quick 6 tips that I posted in my graphic here. Like I said, before you even worry about race wheels, you need to kind of do a mental checklist of, are you even ready for race wheels? If you got the money and it's not a problem, hey man, go out and buy them new. Zip, Firecrest, you know, sub disc. I don't even know what the latest brands are because I don't even spend the mental energy to go look. You know, disc in the back, 1080 in the front. You know, whatever you got to do to go out there and kill it, or you know, even if it just makes you look, you know, feel cool, and you got the funds and it's not a problem, and you're not sweating it, go out and do it. I mean, I'm not gonna stop you. I'd encourage it. If I had the money, I'd go out and buy new wheels every year, but I don't have the money. I've had my zip wheels for 3 to 4 years. They work great, use them for races only. That way I get some longevity out of them. But they've taken, you know, beating. They go in the back of my car with my bike. I've shipped them to races and bike boxes, so, you know, and they've held up over time. I get them checked every year just to make sure everything's good, all the spokes and everything. But you know, like I said, I did some investigating. I got to a point where I thought that they would help me out. I did all the other options, and I'm going to go over my tips here. I thought, you know, it was time. So anyway, do this mental checklist before you even think about going online and checking out race wheels. Work your fitness and your energy before you get the wheels. So at a point of about 20 miles per hour, it becomes more of battling wind resistance than actually getting up to speed. So at that point, it's not about necessarily your strength, your fitness, getting up to that speed, but it's fighting wind resistance to go faster. So at that point, it becomes more of a factor for race wheels, and the aerodynamics of it involved becomes a bigger factor, and it becomes more, you know, wattage, more miles per hour, whatever, however you want to analyze it, per dollar. So before that, the aerodynamics of the wheels aren't going to play as big a factor in getting you up to speed. But once you get that 20 mile per hour barrier, if you're consistently doing that in races, that's going to be a point where it might kind of help you out and it might be a little bit more serious of an option. Do you have an aero helmet? And while you're looking at that stat, I'll talk in the background so you can still hear me, so it's not just blank video, but do you have an aero helmet? You know, I got, what's at the Pace Triathlon, you know, we got a discounted Rudy project, and I found this on clearance, and you know, the aerodynamic gains from the Wing 57 and the fact it was on clearance in class that I got a discount on it, you know, makes it a no-brainer to make sure I had that first before even worrying about race wheels, because the miles per hour, wattage per hour, however you want to analyze it, per dollar is much more significant than race wheels. You're going to spend a lot more money on race wheels than an aero helmet, but you're going to get a little bit more out of an aero helmet. You can go look up all the stats online, and aero helmets are going to rank above race wheels because that big old fat noggin out there is blocking wind. So do you have an aero helmet before you have race wheels? Trysuit. So I've got my handy. If I was playing this out a little bit better, I had all this stuff handy so I don't have to keep walking back and forth. Do a Trysuit nowadays. They've made them to the point where they wick moisture away. You're not going to be hot. You're not going to be overheated, and it kind of actually squeezes you a little bit and reduces your circumference, so you have less wind resistance. But do you have a quality Trysuit? Like Zoot, again, I'm an ambassador for Team Zoot this year, so it kind of works out nicely. So, do you have a Trysuit? You can sign up for an email newsletter. You get 20% off. They have clearance items. They're coming out with new suits all the time. So there's no excuse not to have one and basically use it for every race you do. So do you have a Trysuit that makes you a little bit more aerodynamic, and it's a more cost-effective way to get some aerodynamics out there? Do you have a tri bike, or at least aero bars on your road bike? So if you're not in an aerodynamic position, if you're on a road bike, yeah, race wheels will help you out, but maybe you should be looking, instead of $2,000-$3,000 new race wheels on your road bike where you don't have aero bars. Maybe you should be looking at a true tri bike for $2,000 to $3,000. I know Quintanar, I'm again there with Set the Pace, and I help my athletes with discounts for that. But they're having sales all the time. You can get yourself a nice PR5, PR6 disc, DI2, whatever you want, at a pretty affordable price. And they do come with aero wheels already. They're not super deep, maybe a 404 type depth. But, look out there for bike brands and new bikes, possibly used. They already come with the wheels. They already just come out of the factory with aerodynamic wheels already involved in them. So that is a way to get more aerodynamics for the same price, but you're getting a true triathlon bike, and going into getting a true fit and everything like that. That's a conversation for later. But do you have at least aero bars on your road bike, or do you have at least a triathlon bike, a time trial bike, before you even have race wheels? If you're not doing the Tour de France, you don't need 404s, 808s, whatever. You're going to be out there riding. Just do kind of that mental checklist. Do you have a tri bike? Do you have aero bars? If you do make the decision that you're going to do it, shop around. Make sure, don't just go to your local bike shop and accept our word of whatever they got hanging on a wall is the best you can do. There are online deals all the time. There's different brands, different quality. Ultimately, it's kind of a personal decision. Zip's kind of leader in the brand and in the industry as far as race wheels go. But there's Ore Cycling, there's Flow, there's Head. There's all kinds of different brands out there. So just do your research. If you've gone through the first few checklists and you decided that mental energy is worth your time to go invest in. So, shop the options. I got mine off of, I believe, Slow Twitch Classifieds. I've done eBay before. I've sold old bike wheels on eBay. It's a great place to find used equipment that's in good shape and for a good price. But one thing you got to make sure is, once you put those aero wheels on your bike, it's not all about just hammering it hard and getting the most speed out there. Are you comfortable on that? Make sure you're comfortable on your bike to begin with, because if you add aero wheels, you're going to be fighting crosswinds. And it can be kind of hairy sometimes. It'd be great with the tailwind, great, it helps you out in the headwind. But if you're nervous on your bike, maybe in descending as well, adding on deep wheels on the front, race wheels, could be a problem and make you kind of a nervous situation even more, make you more anxious when you're out there riding in a race, which you don't need with that adrenaline already. So make sure that you're comfortable with the idea that your handling is going to be compromised a little bit, especially on a kind of windy, breezy day. Especially, if you've got just the funds just to get one set of wheels. Some people have got enough funds, buy 808s and then buy a 404 for the front just in case it's windy, disc wheels for the back, or a 1080 for the back. If you got options, like I said before, spend it if you got it. But if you don't got options, you need to kind of weigh the, if you decide aero wheels are the best way to go, race wheels, maybe a 808 on the back and a 404 on the front, just in case there's a headwind or a side wind or something like that, that your handling is not compromised on your bike. And I just kind of hit the top 6 that I came up with off the top of my head, and I'm sure I've spewed out a few more while I've just kind of talked a little bit. So just make sure, before you even think about spending time looking on the internet for race wheels, you see all those sexy bike porn pictures floating around pathetic triathletes groups and other groups, and the pros always racing their top gear. Make sure that it's even worth You know, it's not just a vanity factor. Make sure that you're ready. You know, make sure the engine's ready. Make sure that you're comfortable. Make sure that you've done the other options, aero helmets. You know, even cycling shoes. You know, make sure that you've got good quality cycling shoes, because that make a difference. You know, that could hang you up the wind if you've got shoes just flapping around with extra straps and stuff you don't need if they're not true triathlon shoes or road cycling shoes. So that can be another option as well. There's great affordable shoes out there, so that's even on my list. So just make sure you've covered all the bases before you jump right in and think just because you see everybody at races, all the guys decked out in their top gear, you know, if they're hitting 23, 24 miles an hour, 20 miles an hour during the race, it's probably advantageous for them to spend that kind of energy and time and money to set up with race wheels. If not, you know, some people just like the looks of it and they've got the money and they go do it. But if you don't have the money and you're stressing about time anyway in a time-starved life, kind of go over this checklist. If you don't have it, then get this stuff first and then worry about race wheels. If you got any questions, comment on this video, send me an email, visit the website, www.setthepacetriathlon.com. Sign up for the email newsletter. You get tips and tricks and all this other stuff. You get the image, you get my text version of this, so you can read it at your own pace if you don't like listening to me talk. And then you can ask more questions that way too. So hopefully this helps you out, and good luck out there. I'll see you on the other side of Muncie 70.3 on Sunday.